Hello everyone, my name is Jamila and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. So I'm going to be doing a series of the sun in all the houses, so ranging from the first house into the 12th house. So feel free to look at my other videos, at my other contents in regards to synastry and just natal positions in astrology. But first and foremost, I want to start off by talking about an introduction to the sun and synastry. So in astrology, the sun shines its light on the house it occupies. But we must be mindful that whilst the sun can energize and enlighten, it also has the power to cause harm. So for example, just like how plants can thrive under direct sunlight, not all will flourish, some will wither and die, So for an example, a cactus plant will thrive in direct sunlight, whilst a spider plant will not do well in direct sunlight. It will literally shrivel up. So my point here is to take into consideration that there are both positives and negatives when it comes to, the sun and where it's positioned in a house in synastry. So like with most things, there's an opposite and then there's also a balance that needs to be harnessed when it comes to the sun's energy and its effectiveness. All right. So each house in astrology represents a different facet, of life. And of life. And the sun's impact can widely it can impact us depending on its placement, and what house it is positioned in regards to synastry. But most importantly, as I'm sure you may, or maybe you aren't, or you are aware, that when it comes to looking at an individual's synastry, first and foremost, we have to look at the individual's chart to gain a deeper, in-depth understanding of how this will play out, because everyone's situation will play out differently, even if there are similarities in regards to synastry, because no one's chart is the same. Even for twins and triplets, it's going to be different. Okay, seconds, minutes, it all makes a difference. Okay, so anyway, so to give you an example, for instance, now say the sun is in the first house in synastry. This can illuminate one's identity and self-expression, fostering confidence and personal growth. However, it can also lead to an overemphasis on the ego, because the sun is the self, the sun is ego. So this can have an emphasis on, again, the ego and someone's self-importance, So, with that example, with it being in the first house, it can be a case of the sun being self-absorbed, being selfish, Whilst on the other spectrum of it, it can be someone boosting someone's ego, because we all have an ego, but some of us, we have an ego that sometimes it is non-existent, and we all need to have a certain level of a healthy ego. But anyway, now in the 7th house, the sun can bring warmth and vitality to partnerships and relationships, because this is the 7th house. It's ruled by Libra, Venus. So with this dynamic in the 7th house, it encourages mutual understanding and cooperation, meeting in the middle, because that's balance, that's the 7th house. But yet it may also introduce power struggles or an imbalance of attention between two partners. Okay, sorry, between partners, shouldn't say two partners. Anyway, likewise in the 10th house, the sun can energize one's career. It boosts. Okay, but like I said, it can also be an indication of finish off first. Like I said, it can boost one's career, the public image, the driving ambition and success. But on the other hand of it, it can also lead to workaholic tendencies, a relentless pursuit of status at the expense of one's personal well-being, of the other, because this is synastry, so it's the interaction of the other. And then, so my point here is that by being aware of these dynamics, it can help us to navigate the interplay of energies in the astrological charts. So, just like with all things, it's just understanding the dual nature of the sun's influence, and it allows, us to maximize its benefits, but also mitigating the potential drawbacks. So looking at the pros and the cons, the negatives and positives, or, because there's always a shadow side to each house and where one planet is, but we're talking about the sun. So we're embracing both the light and the shadow aspects of the sun placements. So it can lead potentially to a more holistic and fulfilling experience. So with you understanding this introductory to how it can play out, so you understand that with all the 12 houses from the 1st to the 12th, there are positive and there are negative. So things won't always play out in the most beautiful or in the most amazing dynamic. It all depends on what's going on with your chart and how you and another individual's charts interact. But without further ado, let me jump in to the sun and the position of the house I'm talking to for this audio. All right, so I love this one. I love the sun in the 8th house. I love 8th house, synastry, Pluto. Oh, I love it. Anyway, let's get into it. So when the sun falls into somebody's 8th house, excuse me. I'm excited. I can't even talk properly. Do you know what it is? My North Node is in Scorpio. I've got a lot of Pluto in my chart. So this is my is it forte? Is that the word? This is my arena. Yeah. So when someone's sun falls in somebody's 8th house, it can be a powerful and transformative aspect in astrology. It typically indicates a deep, intense, and I mean intense, like this is a headlock chokehold interaction. And this can touch both the core of both individuals. This will knock you off your feet clean. Things get heavy here, because the sun naturally is fiery. It's Leo. It's a fire sign. So it's a fireball. So when it comes into a water house, a deep water house like Scorpio, it's like suffocation, no breathing. And not necessarily literally, but some people may feel that way. So this placement can bring a profound psychological experience, insights, and can lead to significant personal growth and transformation for both parties. Because Pluto, it does not like small talk. Pluto wants to dive deep. Pluto wants to get to the core of things. So when it comes to the sun falling in somebody's 8th house, it's like, come on, let's get to it. It's like CBT therapy. Let's get straight to the point. Why are you here and what do you want to resolve? And in case you don't know what CBT stands for, it's cognitive behavioral therapy. It's a approach in therapy that is used. You can go and look it up. I'm not going to get into that. Anyway, so the sun person may illuminate the 8th house person's hidden fears, the desires, and their subconscious patterns. And it encourages them to confront and heal these aspects of themselves, because we all have fears, whether or not we want to acknowledge them or not. And maybe sometimes we can be quite in denial about our fears, especially if we're quite a confident person, or like a go-lucky person. We're always being positive. But we all have fears, and we all have desires, and we all have patterns, behavioral patterns that serve us and that don't, you know. So often than not, when this interaction happens, it's fated, and it will feel fated too. You will meet people sometimes throughout your life, especially with this overlay, where they're here to show you sides of yourself that maybe you did not want to see, maybe you wasn't aware, because it's hidden. You know, it's a dark place in the eighth house. It can be quite dark and gloomy. But it's very encouraging here because it's like this person, although it may be painful, it's encouraging you to just confront and heal these parts of yourself, because once you release this baggage, you will transform, you know, the whole rebirth and death. So often than not, there is definitely a magnetic attraction here. Oh, it's intense, it's sexual, loads of chemistry. Of course, on the flip side, you know, one or both could feel repelled. You know, you could feel a bit like, don't want to deal with this person. It could go that way. It's not always, you know, flowers and daisies, like I like to say, but there's like this overlay is characterized. Sorry, that's my toddler. Taking a deep breath. He's fast asleep. What was I gonna say? That's just throw me off. Okay, so like I was saying, with this interaction, it is characterized by a strong emotional and sometimes even a physical bond, because this house rules sex. Okay, so you guys could get physical quite quickly, and through this physical interaction, things can become intense. It's like emotions, feelings, they get brought up to the surface real quick, and it can be uncomfortable, you know, because this is the eighth house. You know, it can get intense, and if you're someone that doesn't like intense interactions, you will freak out, you will want to run, you will want to escape. But at the same time, you can't help but feel intrigued. You can't help but feel like, oh, what is this? Who is this? I want to know. And then it's like, whoa, do I want to know? And then it's like, whoa, I don't know. You know, you can feel all over the place. It can leave you completely rattled, you know. So this synastry aspect can also bring out themes of shared resources, joint ventures, and a mutual interest in exploring the mysteries of life, whether that be spiritual, psychological, or metaphysical. So you and this person could talk about tarot, astrology, numerology, crystal healing, chakras, psychology. You know, maybe this is an interaction where you could have a therapist, you know, that digs deep into your psyche. And on the flip side of this, this is like worst case scenario. This could be a therapist that you feel attracted to, you know, or the lower octave of this could be a therapist taking advantage of you, you know, using your weaknesses to manipulate you, because it does happen. In the counseling therapy department, it does happen, you know. I have a degree in counselling integrative therapy, and I learned so much throughout university, and even throughout my own therapy. And I learned so much, you know, reading journals, research documents, and blah blah blah. And sometimes we're all human, right? You know, so but we know better, but still we do things we shouldn't do, you know. So hey, but anyway, but yeah, you could feel like this is a spiritual connection as well, you know, for sure. You could feel like this person's your soulmate. This could be a karmic interaction, you know. Karma is not, it's cause and effect. It's not like, oh, you know, you reap what you sow. What you put out there comes back to you. So, you know, this could be an interaction of where maybe you're an individual that has played the field and you've done people wrong, you know. You've been manipulative. You've had a mask on and deceived people, and then you meet someone like this, you know, their sun falls in your 8th house and you feel attracted to them, you feel drawn to them, and then they do what you've done to people, and then but that transforms you, because then you realize, damn, that's how all those people felt all along. I'm feeling that way now, and then you shred it. Or it could go the complete opposite way, you know, or you become bitter, angry, and you want revenge. But again, regardless, you know, what goes up finally will come down. So, while this connection can be deeply fulfilling, it can also bring challenges. You know, the intensity of this relationship may lead to power struggles because it's the 8th house. I want to be in control. I don't want my feelings to get the better of myself. I want to know what's going on. I want to lead. I want to be the boss. But in situations like this, you or both people could lose control, and then things could go pear-shaped. There can be an element of possessiveness as well, or a fair vulnerability, because it's very intense here. You know, the 8th house here, Scorpios in general, they feel things intensely, you know, and because they feel things intensely, they want to be in control, you know. But once feelings are involved, you are no longer in control, you know. But hey, anyway, but if both individuals are willing to work through these challenges with honesty and openness, the relationship does have the potential to be incredibly transformative, healing, and empowering. Like, you will feel powerful being with this person, and you and this person could move mountains together. You know, this is someone that could probably as well provide for you financially, where they are better off, and then you come in together with them. You become like a power couple where you both have resources where you both benefit from it, you know. So for example, one could have their own home whilst the other hasn't got their own home, but then the person that doesn't have their own home, they have a lot of money where they have enough money for you and them, you know. So it can be very beneficial, you know. Of course, on the flip side of that, it can be a situation of where one is, you know, money grabbing, you know, being greedy as such. But this could be a very, very, very powerful dynamic where you two essentially could be a very powerful power couple. Sorry. Sorry, that was a lot. But ultimately, the sun in the 8th house synastry, it's not for the faint-hearted. It's not. Sorry, I'm just laughing because I've seen so many things. I've read so many things with the sun in the 8th house. And the stories is crazy. But you live and learn, right? And usually fire signs and air signs, they won't want nothing to do with this. Earth signs sometimes are like, okay, cool, I'm uncomfortable, but, you know, let's do it. You know, let's triumph through. Water signs do okay with this. It's kind of in their element in some way, because water signs in general, they tend to have a similarity between them, although they're not the same, you know. But yeah, this is not for the faint-hearted. This is for someone that wants to face the truth, you know, the reality, and dig deep and shred. Because some people get into these interactions and they don't know how to let go, you know. It's uncomfortable, but for those ready to dive deep into the waters of their own psyche and emerge stronger, because again, with the whole psyche thing, it's like I mentioned earlier with the therapy thing, this could be like an interaction between you and a psychotherapist or a psychiatrist or a counsellor, you know, where they're digging deep into your psyche to understand why you behave the way you behave, what motivates your behaviour, you know, looking at your childhood, digging deep to find out where and how these behavioural patterns instigated, like what started them, and then you become aware. And then through awareness, you shred. You're like, oh, that's why I behave like that. So, for example, maybe you're someone that's quite emotionally closed off. You don't like to share how you feel because of growing up. Maybe you was dismissed. You know, maybe your parents often muted you when you would express how you feel. whether you was right or wrong, you know. And through that, you learn, you know what, whenever I feel a certain way, I can't tell people how I feel. It's like subconsciously you've just like learned, okay, well, when I'm going through things, I'm not going to say anything. And then you go to therapy, and then you and your therapist are going over your childhood. You're saying this, you're saying that, and then they go, this is why you're behaving this way, because of your parents did A, Y, and Z, and this is the result of that. And then you go, oh, you have that tower moment, and then you're like, okay, I don't need to be that way anymore. I don't need to be that way, you know? I can let that go. And then you shred it, and then you transform. You know, it's the eighth house. So yeah, you know, and it's a beautiful thing when you can shred the old. The eighth house is a beautiful thing. It's scary, but it's only scary to people that don't want to evolve. It's only scary to people that don't want to face their truth, you know. But once you shred, you feel so much lighter. You become stronger, wiser, and you're more connected than ever before. Like, you just feel more in sync with yourself. I can't explain it. It's something you have to experience to understand. But of course, with all synastry interactions, you have to maintain balance between each other. You know, you don't want to be codependent on one another, because you actually can become quite codependent with this eighth house interaction, emotionally, you know, because one or the other could be that rock. And there's nothing wrong with being someone's rock, but you need to be your own rock, most importantly. You know, making sure that the nurturing between you lot is shared, and, you know, just make sure you're fostering trust and respect, and respecting each other's boundaries, because by doing so, it can create, you know, a safe space where both can express their authentic selves without the fear of judgment or rejection. Because this is deep, you know, this is an interaction of where I could talk about the eighth house all day. This is an interaction of where you will share your most vulnerable parts, you know. If you're someone that unfortunately has been, you know, sexually abused, assaulted, molested, you could share this with this person, and maybe you've never shared that with anyone, you know. So of course boundaries need to be put in place, you know, and so forth. Or maybe there's something you've done and you're not proud of yourself, and you've been holding it in, this secret, and then this person comes along and maybe they can relate to you, you know, in a way. Maybe they've done something that's similar to you, you know. But communication is always key in navigating any complexities of this particular synastry aspect. But yeah, an open and honest dialogue to prevent, you know, misunderstandings or for insecurities to arise, because insecurities definitely can come up in this interaction. They can, because it's intense. Like, if this is a relationship, even a friendship, you could be really if it's a friendship, you could have a lot of love for this person, like you really care about them, you know. And this could be like a best friend or a close friend or whatever it is, and it's like you may not ever want to lose them, because they see you on a level that nobody else has. And even the relationship, you know, because you feel so intensely for this person, you could feel concerned, worried, rejected, without this person even rejecting you. You could feel insecure, maybe you feel unworthy, you know. But most importantly, I just feel like if you both embrace vulnerability and show empathy, this can really strengthen like your union, your connection. Even if this is like a business, because this can be a business interaction too, because it is shared resources. You know, you just really connect on that level. So if it is a business interaction, maybe you're both psychologists, for example, and you're doing a research project, and you're really dedicated and passionate about getting this research journal out, you know. And it's like, oh, this person gets me. They say it's a research topic about depression, you know, and the stigma associated to such. Maybe this person that falls into your 8th house, they have the same passion, that they really get you to the core. So you don't want to lose them, because you may not ever find another psychologist as passionate as this person. But ultimately, you know, this placement can serve as a catalyst for growth, for personal and spiritual growth. And the sun person is acting as a guiding light, because the sun is the light, you know. I'm inspiring the 8th house person to explore their deepest truths and to uncover hidden talents and passions, that this person could make you aware of something that you wasn't even aware of in regards to your talents and your passions. There's so much for you guys to discover. You guys could be into conspiracies or whatever you want to call it, because, you know, some people are like, oh, it's just a conspiracy, whatever. Anyway, you guys could be digging deep, you know, watching crazy documentaries together, you know, them serial killer documentaries, and, you know, eating popcorn like, whoa, that was crazy, you know. But ultimately, you're helping each other evolve and reach new heights, you know, in both your personal and shared lives. But one thing you can guarantee is that the sun in the 8th house synastry holds the promise of a transformative partnership where both individuals can learn, grow, and evolve in profound ways. Even if this relationship, whether it's a friendship, it's still a relationship of some kind. Even if it doesn't last, you will remember each other forever, because it was something that connected the two of you guys. Even if it was something ugly, you know. But yeah. Of course, this is the 8th house, so it does, you know, like I said, if each house, there's positives and negatives, you know. It can play out either way, because, you know, depending on the aspects involved, this could be a very harsh interaction. You know, the sun could be very harsh, judgmental, could bring you down, you know, be disrespectful, burn you in some way. You know, so, but yeah, this can be a very transformative interaction, but very deeply rewarding and enduring, you know, because it's a fixed house. But boy, I've just been talking for 20 minutes. But I love Pluto. I love the 8th house, and I'm just passionate about it, because boy, have I learned. I've got so much Pluto in my chart, and Scorpio as well, and I've been through hell and back, but let me tell you, I would do it all over again, because I've transformed. I'm so resilient, I'm telling you. Anyway, guys, feel free to share your experiences below. Like I said, it's not going to be all amazing, you know. With this interaction, someone could literally take advantage of you and your insecurities and play with you, you know. It just all depends on what's going on. But I'm just giving you a generalization of the 8th house. I'm not talking about aspects and all of that. But anyway, guys, I wish you all the best and take care. Bye.